The theft under moonlight. The night was cold and silent. The moons above the alien planet glowed with pale blue light. The wind whispered across the broken stones of the old colony ruins. Ryan, a human explorer, walked alone through the empty streets. He was tired after a long day of scanning for resources. His backpack was heavy with supplies: water, food, medical tools. Ryan stopped near a broken wall and took a deep breath. He looked up at the stars. "They're so quiet here," he whispered to himself. Just then he felt a light tug at his side. He turned quickly. His backpack was open, his food packet was missing. A shadow ran. A small figure, fast, thin, and barefoot, dashed into the darkness. It was not human. It had a long tail, thin arms, and glowing eyes. An alien child. Ryan blinked, in surprise. "What the—" He grabbed a light and followed the shadow. His boots echoed through the empty streets. He ran past broken homes, metal towers, and cracked roads. The alien child was fast but kept looking back. It didn't try to hide. It wanted to be followed. Ryan followed deeper into the old city ruins. The buildings here were almost falling. Down. Strange symbols were carved into the walls. Alien writing. Ryan's heart pounded. The air was getting colder. He saw the child slip inside a half-broken structure. The door was hanging open. The place looked like it once held machines, now all rusted and dead. Ryan stepped inside slowly. His flashlight beam moved across the room. Old blankets, empty cans, a pile of stones like a small bed. This place was not just ruins. It was a home. Then he saw them. The alien child was sitting beside a larger figure, an alien woman. She was lying on the floor, her body shaking with weak, slow breaths. Her skin was pale and dry. She looked close to death. Her eyes were closed. The child placed the stolen food beside her and gently touched her face. Ryan stood frozen. The child looked up, eyes wide with fear. He placed one hand in front of his mother, trying to protect her. He made a small noise, not words, just a sound of warning. Ryan slowly put his flashlight down and raised his hands. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The child looked confused but didn't move. Ryan took out a bottle of clean water from his pack and rolled it gently toward the child. "You need this more than I do," he said. The child picked it up carefully. He opened the cap and gave the water to the woman. She drank slowly, weakly. Then she opened her eyes, bright silver, glowing with pain. She looked at Ryan. To his shock, she spoke. "Help," she whispered. The voice was broken but clear. In English. Ryan stepped forward. Slowly, carefully. "You speak English?" She nodded once, barely. The child moved closer to her, afraid. Ryan knelt down and placed his backpack on the ground. He opened it and took out a small med kit. "I can help her," he said. "But I need to know, what happened to you?" The woman coughed. Her voice was faint. We were left here. My people, they are gone. Soldiers came. We hid." Ryan felt a sharp pain in his chest. These weren't just strangers. They were survivors. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. The child looked at him, confused but curious. Ryan reached out and handed him a piece of dried fruit. The child sniffed it, then ate it fast. He was starving. Ryan sat down beside them. The wind howled outside. In that cold, ruined place, a small spark of trust was born between two very different worlds. Ryan looked at the child, then at the mother. He knew one thing now. He couldn't leave them. Not now. Inside the ruins. Silence lived inside the ruins. Only the sound of slow breathing and the soft hum of Ryan's flashlight filled the room. Dust floated in the air like quiet snow. The alien mother lay still, her thin chest rising and falling with difficulty. Her skin was pale blue, almost gray. Her face, once proud, was now tired and hollow. The small alien child sat close to her, his tiny hand holding hers. His large eyes blinked, full of fear and sadness. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Ryan slowly sat down on a broken crate across from them. He took a deep breath. He had seen many strange things in his life: broken worlds, wild creatures, empty space. But this was different. This was personal. He was not just looking at aliens, he was looking at a family trying to survive. The child kept watching him. His eyes followed every move. He didn't speak, but his body said everything. He was protecting her, with all he had. Ryan reached into his bag again. He pulled out a soft blanket and a nutrient patch. Carefully, he crawled forward and placed the blanket over the mother. Then, without touching her, he put the patch near her arm and activated it. The patch glowed gently. Healing medicine flowed through her skin. The mother opened her eyes again. She looked at Ryan, confused. "You help? Why?" she asked. Her voice was like wind through dry leaves. Ryan didn't answer right away. He looked at the child. He looked back at her. And then he said something honest. "Because I couldn't walk away." The woman's lips moved into a tired smile. "Humans, not all cold," she whispered. Ryan blinked. "You've met others?" Her eyes darkened. "Yes, soldiers, guns, fire." She coughed again. "Chased us, took our home. We ran. But no ship left for us." Ryan sat back, stunned. He had heard of this planet before, once home to an alien race that had vanished. But the truth was clear now. They didn't vanish. They were hunted. He looked around the dark room. This wasn't just a shelter. It was a graveyard. The walls were covered in carvings, alien writing and symbols, stories of stars, families, and battles, the last messages of a forgotten people. The child stood up. He walked slowly to one wall and touched a symbol, two hands holding a sun. He pressed it. A soft blue light appeared, a small part of the wall opened. Inside was a tiny metal box. The child picked it up and brought it to his mother. She took it with shaking hands and opened it. Inside were 3 silver stones. They glowed with soft light. She held one out to Ryan. He took it carefully. "What is this?" he asked. The woman looked at him, her voice almost gone. "Memory." Ryan stared at the stone. It was warm. "This shows your story?" She nodded. "It must live. If we do not, you will remember." Ryan swallowed hard. Something inside him changed. He had come to this planet for fuel and minerals, but he had found something more valuable. He had found a voice begging not to be forgotten. Suddenly, a beep came from his wrist communicator. Ryan looked down. Incoming patrol detected. ETA, 3 hours. His heart jumped. He looked at the woman. "I can't let them find you. They'll think you're dangerous." She looked calm. "They always do." Ryan stood up. His mind raced. "I need to hide you. Somewhere safe." The child pulled at his arm gently and pointed to another door deeper in the ruins. Ryan nodded. "I'll help you," he said. "We still have time." The woman held his hand for a moment. Her skin was cold, but her grip was strong. "Thank you. Human." Ryan nodded once. "Call me Ryan." She smiled weakly. "Elira." The child tapped his own chest. "Kale." And just like that, they weren't strangers anymore. They were a team. One human, one dying alien mother, one silent, brave child, and just 3 hours before everything changed. A deal with the stars. The stars above were silent, but time was not. Ryan stood outside the ruins, staring at the night sky. The cold air brushed against his face. He looked calm, but inside his thoughts were racing. 3 hours. That's all he had before the patrol arrived. Before trained soldiers with scanners, guns, and orders would walk through this forgotten place and find them. Behind him, inside the broken walls, Elira slept under the blanket. Kyle sat beside her, wide awake, eyes watching Ryan. The child had not spoken a word, but he didn't need to. His look said everything. "Will you leave us?" Ryan turned back and walked inside. "No," he said aloud, though no one had asked. Kyle tilted his head. Ryan knelt beside them. We have to move you. Now. Elira opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was weak but calm. There's nowhere to go. There's me, Ryan said. I have a ship. The words hung in the air like strange music. Kyle's eyes lit up. Elira only blinked. A human ship? Yes. Not a warship. Just mine. Small. Quiet. Elira looked at Kale. Then at Ryan. Why do you help us? What do you want in return? Ryan hesitated. He hadn't thought of it like that. But now, faced with the question, the answer came easily. Nothing. She studied him for a long second. Then she said something strange. You're not like the others. You look at us like people. Ryan smiled sadly. That's because you are people. Elira nodded slowly, accepting. Then I trust you. We will go. Back at Ryan's small explorer ship, he pulled out emergency supplies. More, food, thermal blankets, a hover stretcher. He loaded everything into a hover cart. Inside the ruins, Kale touched every wall as if saying goodbye. The boy knew. This place had been their last home. Elira stood with help. Weak, but ready. As they moved, Ryan kept checking his scanner. The patrol ship was closing in. 1 hour left. Halfway to his own ship, Kale stopped suddenly. He pointed toward a hill of metal trash. Old parts, ship wings, broken engines. Ryan followed. Behind the hill was something surprising. An old alien escape pod. Crashed, damaged, but not dead. Ryan climbed inside and checked the console. It still has power, he whispered. Who hid this? Elira stepped forward. Our people. One tried to escape. He didn't make it. We kept it hidden. Ryan thought quickly. If I fix this, maybe you don't have to ride with me. They'll search my ship. Elira nodded. Then we must try. For the next 40 minutes, Ryan worked fast. He used spare parts, cables, batteries. Kale handed him tools without being asked. The boy watched every move, learning silently. Elira placed the memory stones inside a special port. The pod glowed softly. Everything we are, she said, is now in this ship. Ryan wiped sweat from his face. I've done what I can. It'll fly. Just not far. Far enough, Elira whispered. There is a place. Not mapped. Not touched. My people used to call it the hollow sky. Ryan looked at her. You'll be safe there? She gave a soft nod. Just as they were sealing the pod, Ryan's wrist beeped. Patrol ship has entered orbit. Ground team arriving in 10 minutes, he froze. We're out of time, he said. You have to go, now. Elira looked at him, then pulled something from around her neck. A small glowing stone on a silver thread. She pressed it into his hand. This is for you. You are now part of our story. Ryan held it tight. Kale stepped forward. He hugged Ryan suddenly, quick and strong, then ran to his mother inside the pod. The door hissed shut. Engines lit up, soft and blue. The pod rose into the air. Ryan watched it disappear between the stars, silent as snow. He turned back, eyes hardening. Now he had to lie. Fight. Hide. He had made a deal with the stars and he would keep it. The patrol arrives. The silence broke. A loud rumble shook the dusty ground. The shadows of 4 ships slid across the dead colony like black clouds. Engines roared as the patrol ships landed, slow and heavy like beasts of war. Ryan stood near a pile of broken crates. He pulled his jacket tight, placed a neutral look on his face and waited. Inside his hand, the small glowing stone Elira gave him was hidden in his glove. He had just helped 2 aliens escape Earth's forces. Now he had to lie to them. From the lead ship, a tall man in a red uniform stepped down. His name tag read, Latir Dorn. Behind him came 3 more soldiers in white armor, scanners blinking in their hands, weapons on their backs. Dorn looked around with a bored expression. This place is trash, he muttered. Then his eyes landed on Ryan. You're the explorer stationed here? Ryan nodded slowly. Name's Ryan Thorne. I'm collecting samples, minerals, water flow data. Dorn raised an eyebrow. Alone? Always, Ryan said with a small smile. Dorn didn't smile back. The soldiers fanned out. They scanned the walls, the ground, the air. One soldier passed close to the hidden tunnel where the escape pod had once been. Ryan held his breath. Nothing. No sound, no beep. Kale and Elira were gone, but the patrol wasn't satisfied. Dorn turned to Ryan again. Any signs of alien activity here? Ryan shook his head. Not a thing. All ruins. Haven't seen anything move except wind. Funny, Dorn said, pulling out a datapad. Last week, a mining crew spotted movement near this sector. Biosigns, non-human, faint but real. Ryan's jaw tightened. That could have been a scavenger animal, or bad data. This place messes with scanners. Dorn stepped closer, staring into Ryan's eyes. You'd tell us if you saw something, wouldn't you, Mr. Thorne? Ryan didn't blink. Of course. As the patrol moved deeper into the ruins, one soldier paused near the shelter where Ryan first found Kale. He pointed his scanner. Sir, weak energy residue here, very recent. Ryan walked over quickly. I charged a tool there, he lied. Fast. Left it by mistake, you can check my kit. The soldier looked unsure. Dorn came over. He looked at the readings, then at Ryan's face again. You nervous? He asked. Ryan gave a small laugh. Only because you guys are scary with all that armor. Dorn smirked, but his eyes said something else. I don't trust you. Hours passed. The sun began to rise over the ruined city, turning broken towers gold and red. The patrol scanned everything. They found old bones, rusted tech, cracked data chips, but nothing alive. No sign of Kale, no sign of Elira, no pod, no tracks. Ryan stayed calm, quiet, helpful. Exactly what they expected from a man with nothing to hide. Finally, Dorn tapped his comm. Command, we're done here. Nothing useful. One civilian on site. No threats. Then he looked at Ryan again. We'll be watching this zone. Don't wander too far. I like to keep close, Ryan said. Dorn gave a final nod. Good. Stay out of trouble. With that, the soldiers returned to their ships. Engines roared again. Dust flew. The sky filled with light. Then they were gone. As the silence returned, Ryan stood still for a long moment. Then he slowly opened his glove. The small glowing stone was warm in his palm. He whispered, You made it out. Behind him, a gentle wind moved through the ruins, like a sigh of relief. He walked back toward his ship. His mission had changed, no longer just a scout. Now, a guardian of a secret and the keeper of a promise. The escape plan Ryan had survived the patrol, but he knew they would come again. Not curious next time, hungry for proof. He had to act fast. Faster than fear, faster than orders, faster than the system that crushed the weak and erased the forgotten. Thero. Sun had not fully risen when Ryan climbed down into the old tunnel again. The pod was gone. Elira and Kale were gone, but he hadn't sent them far. Just beyond the scanner range, hidden in the lower canyons, the pod sat silent and waiting, like a seed under snow. Elira was still too weak to travel far. Kale never left her side. So Ryan returned with tools. He brought metal sheets, power cells, sealant, and fuel converters. He used pieces from his own ship, even things he needed, to make the pod stronger, faster, safer. Each night, he worked in silence. Each morning, he brought food and medicine. He never told them how close the danger really was. Kale never asked questions, but his eyes never missed a thing. He watched Ryan connect wires, program systems, seal cracks, adjust the fuel flow. The boy didn't speak in words, but he was speaking in trust. One night, while the stars blinked above like distant watchers, Kale picked up a tool and helped. Quietly, perfectly. Ryan looked at him, surprised. You understand this? Cale only nodded, then smiled. It was small, but it was the first time Ryan saw him smile. One night, while Cale slept under the stars, Elira sat up beside the pod. Her skin looked a little stronger. Her voice no longer broke. You know, she said, our kind once helped humans build their first star engines. Ryan looked up from a circuit panel. Really? She nodded. We gave you the first maps to cross between systems. The first stardust filters, the first quiet drives. What happened? She looked away. You learned faster than us. Then, you wanted more. Ryan felt shame, even though it wasn't his doing. Why didn't you fight back? We did, she said. With kindness, with hiding, with memory stones. She held up one of the glowing stones. We don't build empires. We plant stories. Some bloom in time. Ryan looked at the pod. Nearly ready now. Then let's make this one bloom. A new alert came to Ryan's communicator the next day, patrol returning. 2 days. Sweeping full canyon range. His heart raced. 2 days. Then the scanners would find the pod. Find Elira. Find Cale. He worked faster. He didn't sleep. He burned his fingers, scraped his hands, broke tools, and replaced them. He worked like someone who had nothing to lose, except everything. And finally, on the second night, the pod was ready. Not for war, but for freedom. Ryan sat with Elira and Cale under the stars. He gave them both food. Then from his jacket he pulled out 2 small objects. One was a human beacon, transmitter, set to emergency distress. The other was his own ID badge. He gave them both to Cale. Someday, he said softly, if you ever need to find me again, these will help. Elira looked at him. You may lose everything for us. Ryan looked up at the stars. I'd rather lose everything than lose what's right. Elira touched his shoulder gently. Then you are not just human. Before the sun rose, Ryan loaded the pod. He sealed the outside. He double-checked every wire, every setting. Cale hugged him, tighter this time. Elira looked at Ryan one last time and said, You gave us wings again. Then the pod lifted, silent, smooth, glowing blue. Ryan watched it fly over the hills into the dark sky beyond the scanners. Not fast, but free. As it vanished into the dawn, he whispered, Fly far, little star. Now Ryan was alone again. But his choice had changed the stars. Sacrifice in the skies. The morning was too quiet. The wind didn't move. The air felt heavy, like something was holding its breath. Ryan stood beside his ship, hands behind his back, pretending to check the solar panel. But he wasn't thinking about the ship. He was thinking about the pod. Was it far enough now? Had Cale and Elira crossed the scanner range? Were they safe? He didn't know, and he never would, unless he bought them more time. A high-pitched alarm broke the silence. Ryan's wrist device lit up. Incoming, high-speed patrol approaching. ETA. 4 minutes. He didn't move. He didn't panic. He simply turned, walked into his ship, and locked the door behind him. The patrol ship landed hard. Dust flew. The same soldiers returned, this time with more gear, more scanners, and sharper eyes. Lieutenant Dorn jumped down from the ramp before it even touched the ground. Pull energy data from the East Hills, he barked. Something lifted off, from this sector in the last 24 hours. Ryan stood outside his ship now, arms crossed, trying to look calm. Dorn stormed over. We scanned ship fuel trails. Yours don't match the data. Ryan nodded slowly. I haven't lifted off in 3 days. Dorn narrowed his eyes. But someone has. Soldiers spread out. One moved toward Ryan's ship. Another scanned the nearby rocks. A third looked up and saw something strange in the sky. A faint trail. Curved, thin, almost invisible. Sir, the soldier called out. I think I see a trail. Heading west. Dorn turned to Ryan. Where did it go? Ryan looked at him, eyes steady. Nothing went anywhere. Dorn stepped closer. You're lying. Ryan stayed still. I helped no one. Dorn raised his hand, and his soldiers aimed their weapons. I want to search your ship. Dorn said. Ryan shook his head. No. You don't have a choice. Yes, I do, Ryan said. It's a civilian vessel, protected by Section 12 of the Explorer's Charter. You touch it, and you break the treaty. Dorn's lips curled. You really think that piece of paper will save you? No, Ryan said quietly. But I think stalling you will save them. Dorn's eyes widened. You did help them, Ryan smiled. I helped 2 people who needed it. Not threats, not criminals, survivors. Dorn shouted, Take him, but Ryan was already moving. As the soldiers chased him, Ryan pressed a switch on his belt. Behind them, his ship's engine roared to life, blasting heat and light. The soldiers jumped back, shielding their faces. Ryan ran toward the canyons, drawing them away from the trail, away from the sky. They followed, shouting, but he didn't stop. He didn't fight. He just kept running. Running for Kale. Running for Elira. Running for the right thing. They caught him near the cliffs. 5 soldiers pinned him to the ground. Dust rose around them. Dorn walked over, furious. You wasted our time. No, Ryan said, out of breath. I bought theirs. Dorn stared into the sky, angry, but too late. The pod was gone. Gone. Beyond scan range. Gone beyond reach. Gone to safety. Later that night, locked in a holding cell aboard the patrol ship, Ryan sat in silence. He looked at the stars through the window. They looked different now. He wasn't thinking about escape. He was thinking about Kale's smile, about Elira's voice, and the memory stone still hidden in his glove. A seed waiting to bloom. The message left behind years passed. The stars did not change, but the people under them did. In a quiet corner of space, far beyond patrol zones, war routes, and forgotten treaties, there stood a small, peaceful world. Its skies were soft blue. Its trees grew in rings, and in its sky floated a white tower made of both human steel and alien crystal. This place had no name on any map, but its people called it Hollow Sky, and its leader was a boy once known as Kyle. Kyle was no longer a child. His skin now glowed faint gold under the suns. His eyes were calm. He had grown taller, stronger, but he still carried silence like a badge of honor. He spoke only when needed. But when he did, people listened. Alien survivors, refugees, peace seekers all followed him, because Kale had seen the worst of both worlds, and he still chose to build something better. One night, Kale returned from the cliffs and found Elira, older now, her body thin but peaceful, waiting in the garden. She smiled softly. You've built something strong, she said. Kale nodded, then she handed him a small metal cube. It was old, scratched, faintly humming. It was the cube Ryan left behind, the one with his memory stone inside. Kale turned it on. A soft blue light filled the room. Then the voice of a human echoed out. Calm, honest, familiar. If you're hearing this, then you made it. Good. I don't know where you are or who's listening, but I hope you're safe. I didn't do much. Just one choice, one moment, one hand reaching out instead of pulling away. Sometimes that's all it takes. The world may forget me. That's fine. But don't forget what you are. Not a weapon, not a threat. You are the future. You are the bridge. And if someday someone else is lost and hungry and afraid, be there, Ryan. The light faded. Silence returned. But something powerful remained. Kyle looked at the stars. He did not cry. He did not speak. But the next morning, the people of Hollow Sky woke to a new statue in the garden. It showed a man in simple clothes, smiling, gently, one hand outstretched, palm open. Beneath it were 5 words carved in human and alien language. One choice can change everything. And across the galaxy, from Earth to the edge of dark space, stories began to spread. Quietly at first, like whispers between the stars. Stories of a man who helped a dying alien and her son. Stories of trust and courage and kindness. Stories of Ryan. Humanity was not perfect, but somewhere in the dark, it had proved something powerful. That humans could destroy. Yes. But they could also protect. They could also choose hope. And that made all the difference. The end.